Jeff Bezos, you are a
dick.
How does it feel?
It's amazing.
Now, if we're talking about, like, asking the question if we're living in a dystopia,
Yeah.
I think we are, because the last 2 weeks, there's been 2 days where the main news stories have felt like something that'd be mentioned in the early stages of a dystopian novel, where it was another billionaire has gone into space.
I hadn't even thought of that kind of.
Doesn't that sound really dystopian when you think about it? Like, that's something that'd be in like a book, like, especially like it'd be something that'd be in like a young adult dystopian novel, like a Ready Player One or a Hunger Games, where there'd just be a passing mention that another billionaire went into space and we're all down on Earth, fucking suffocating from the humidity or dying of COVID, whatever.
They'd be going up to some utopian space station base where the low classes are like slaves and
in a Amazon warehouse. Did you watch the historic event of Jeff Bezos going for a 10-minute trip into the upper atmosphere
in his giant
dick?
Yeah.
Take a look out of starboard.
Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Pecker!
Oh, where?
Wait, that's not a woodpecker. It looks like someone's...
Privates! We have reports of an unidentified flying object. It is a long, smooth shaft, complete with two balls.
What is that? That looks just like an enormous...
Wang, pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying...
Willie.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it looks like a giant...
penis. No, I didn't. No. He's Dr. Evil Rocket.
Oh, you see, that's the one good thing that came of it, I guess, is the memes.
Yeah.
Can we share screen on this? No, we can't. But
No.
I'll send you some in chat, sure.
Oh, yeah.
If you care, that is. But there's been some funny memes about it. But why the fuck were the media so interested in it?
I didn't give a shit. I didn't even watch it. Like,
it got
because it was even was it last week or the week before? Was Richard Branson did the same one, and he didn't actually go to space. He went to like the upper atmosphere or something.
He was a few miles below what Bezos did, but there's the evidence that this was like the media had planned to give this the coverage they gave it for months, because they completely glossed over Branson.
Richard Branson. Yeah.
And then just acted like nothing happened and just continued with the Bezos coverage as planned, because this is the narrative they had set out to tell.
Yeah, the only article I saw on Richard Branson's one was Richard Branson didn't actually go to space. Let's all stop lying about it. That's literally the headline.
That's the type of stuff I saw. Yeah,
like that's the only stuff I saw about Richard.
And no, I'm not like saying like, oh, Branson deserves the credit. Like, fuck him too. But it is clear that the media had a plan from the beginning that we're going to deitize Jeff Bezos here with this publicity stunt, and we're not going to let anything change that narrative. That was even the idea of I can't remember her name, but like, it wasn't last minute, but very late in the stages, they included that woman astronaut on the trip. She's a trained NASA astronaut that never got to go into space. She's like 82 or something, so she's the oldest person going to space. But that was obviously a goodwill kind of gesture.
Yeah.
And then they had the kid whose father bought him the ticket. He's only like 18, so he's now the youngest person. They tried to like add on as many like historical sort of.
Oh, I didn't even know they were adding in extra people. I just assumed it was Bezos himself, just in a rocket with like a pilot and an engineer or something. I didn't
Well,
realize
it's
it.
Bezos, his brother, and then those two. The kid is the ticket they put up for auction. So he's technically the first space tourist as well because he paid. Well, his rich father paid for it, but he bought his ticket.
Because I know there's some. I can't think of his name now, but there's a Chinese billionaire who's like pre-selling tickets for these types of flights already, to millionaires essentially.
I hope it's a scam. I hope
Me too.
this Chinese lad is just robbing them blind.
Yeah, and it's like first flight will be in 2023 or anything. Did you notice this? That for the last, I'm gonna say 5 years, and especially this year's, everything is happening in 2023. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Everything's like, oh, and in 2023 we're going to do this. For some reason, they've just picked out this number of 2023 is when we'll achieve that thing, or that road will be built in 2023. That building will be finished. Whatever it is, it's
I
or we're
haven't
going to
really
do this
noticed, but
unmanned mission, or we're going to send this probe. Everything I've just from kind of generally reading things.
I remember
I think that's when our
2025.
masters arrive. But anyway,
2025 was the big one for such a long
oh yeah,
time. Like that's when, like remember the whole Mars One thing that was meant to be
yeah,
2025.
the actual scam.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Oh god, I remember I have so many arguments. There's so many people. I wish I kept a list of all the people I have to
I do,
contact and say I fucking told you,
I
it
would
was a
love
scam.
because there was a guy from Trinity College who was on it,
Yeah,
and he did a TED talk like a couple of years ago. I'd love to do like an interview with him or bring him on the podcast and get him to talk about it. It'd be great, because it was a really interesting idea, but it turned out it was all bullshit.
yeah. But
Uh,
everybody knows that at this point. Like, I think
yeah.
I think most people, any common sense, knew that it was fucking bullshit. A reality show to get people to Mars, and they're going to do it in 10 years. It was fucking ridiculous.
But can you imagine?
You have to
Imagine
be an
they
ape
did it.
brain to
W-
think that was
Yeah,
going to happen.
we talked about this before. I don't know if we actually talked about it on the podcast, but we were saying, imagine they actually did it, because the whole point was they'd no way of getting these people home. They knew they could get them there supposedly, and they were designing these habitats for them and all this kind of stuff. So potentially it was a one-way trip until the technology was created that they could have a launch platform on Mars. And uh, but imagine like that it was like Big Brother, like watching Big Brother reality show, and it became a big
Yeah,
thing, and we
yeah.
watched them do their whatever it is, their 3 month journey to get there, and then them doing their live blogs on life on ship, and then they land and they're in their habitats, and then after like about 6 months, it's just the ratings just drop and everyone forgets about it, and then like 20 years later, we're like, oh shit, we should probably check on those people.
Though you probably won't. You probably, I'd be more inclined to be like, let's not. They wanted to go there, like they were
Yeah,
really desperate just to be like TV stars.
yeah,
That was actually, even if that project was legit, it was kind of doomed from the beginning because all of their, like, I remember reading how like 90% of the people who submitted for it were just like the type of people that submit like audition tapes to Big Brother and Love Island
yeah,
and shit, and they're like,
yeah, yeah.
These are not. We're looking for people with like PhDs in astrophysics, not a
Yeah,
drag
yeah.
queen from Essex.
Yeah, yeah, they're like, oh, we need a geologist and a xenobiologist and stuff, and
Mm,
they're like, not some Instagram model.
yeah, it's just funny.
Um,
But with this going back to like current
yeah,
events, so the mainstream media or like the corporate media,
yeah,
they gave Jeff Bezos and his fucking space mission more coverage in 2 days
yeah.
than they gave climate change in all of 2020.
Oh, fuck's sake! And there was like floods in all of like all over Europe and
All four,
Asia, and
yeah, every continent, or well, no, I think 3 continents had extreme weather in the last month that they haven't experienced before.
We had extreme heat and dryness, and then in Europe, mainland Europe, they had crazy rainfall. And was it China?
Yeah, I think
Maybe there
what
was
we're
crazy floods.
experiencing has nothing on what other places in Europe.
Yeah, like it's insane.
Like Russia is experiencing record forest fires, as bad as like California gets regularly.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Exactly.
yeah.
But we all know that Jeff Bezos fucking went up to space in a giant dick for 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
The best quote is, and I put it on our Discord, and I loved it. Is this guy Dan Price? He's constantly tweeting about the fact that he's the CEO of this company, and his big thing is he's always pushing like fair work-life balance, and he set his company's minimum wage at like I think 75,000 or something like this.
Okay.
So
He's
no
kind of
matter
like your
what,
man that ran for president, or ran for the nomination.
yeah,
He was a
he kind of
Democratic guy, the Asian American chap.
yeah, I can't think of his name either.
But he's a rich dude too, but actually,
Yeah, sound.
yeah.
And
Acknowledges his privilege or whatever.
yeah. So this guy, his whole thing is he's all about like encouraging his staff to work from home, and now their policy is whatever you want, whether you want to work from home or work in the office or a mix, that's up to you. None of this. And I recently read an article about him where he basically called out companies like Google and all that kind of stuff who were like, you can work from home forever, and then 6 months later they're like, we need you in the office now. It's
Yeah.
or you're fired. And but he did a tweet, and I loved this. It was, remember kids, if you study hard, get good grades, go to a good college, get a job, work hard, never take a sick day, live within your means, and do what you're told, then one day your boss might go to space. And I think that just sums it all up. Like you were saying, like from some kind of YA novel, it's like, oh, another billionaire gone to space.
Yeah.
While people are literally like starving and working 70-hour weeks, and who are like their employees, it's just insane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Will you bring that mic a little bit more in front of you?
Sorry.
I only noticed that when you kind of accidentally went closer to it, and I just noticed, oh, that sounds way better.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, there was what was I going to say there? Oh, Andrew Yang is who I was trying to think of.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
But there was something else, Bezos. Oh yeah, did you see Bezos after? Like
Yeah,
when
and
he came
thanked
back.
customers and employees for paying for it.
I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this. So seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much. It's very appreciated.
Customers, he should have, like, if he just thanked customers, he'd been like, that's okay, so we voluntarily pay for a service, for a really good service, and you get products that aren't as easily got elsewhere.
Yeah.
And he created that platform. It fucking started as an independent. He started it as a fucking online bookstore. Like, that'd be
He literally
fine.
started it in his garage. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that'd make sense. And the customers kind of did. Customers voluntarily made that company massive.
Yeah.
No, obviously people voluntarily work for him too, but considering how Amazon treat their employees and stuff, like to tank employees that get like 2 bathroom breaks a day, who are timed with everything they do to the extent that sometimes they just piss themselves at conveyor belts.
Yeah, and
In the
all
10
got
minutes,
COVID.
they all
'Cause there was
like
no social distancing.
in the 10 minutes he was up in space, like how many employees around Amazon warehouses globally fucking collapsed from fucking just heat stroke or whatever, probably
Or
quite a few.
Yeah, or pissed in their Amazon brand diapers while standing at their
Yeah.
station. Yeah.
It was really like he said the quiet part out loud. Also, I don't think I ever heard him speak before.
Yeah.
And he sounds like he sounds like an absolute idiot. Like, as in, he sounds like an imbecile, like the way he talks, and he's got a really goofy. He kind of sounds nerdy. He sounds like, actually. This I heard. There's a Twitch streamer, Hassan Pikar or Piker. He's quite good, but he referred to him. He sounds like a soy Sylvester Stallone. Which, or a San Francisco Sylvester Stallone.
He's just all, well,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what he's talking about at all.
But it gets a bit more high pitched as well.
Oh yeah.
But he just said, like, he sounds like if he came into, if he pitched a business idea to you, you'd be like, this guy sounds like he's an actual like, he sounds like he's been lobotomized. You would never trust him. And you're like, this is the richest person on earth.
So I have this idea to like, gonna like, like a bookstore, but it's kind of it's
He's
digital. It's in your computer, and
but that
you order
is
the books,
kind of what he
and
sounds like.
I have them in my garage, and I'll post them to you.
Another really,
you know what I mean?
another really telling thing about him is where he talks about our future, and he's like, we need to take all industry. It's fucking hilarious. He talks about how, like, he saw the beauty of space, and he's like, and it was just this vastness, and it's so beautiful, and like, what we need to do, we need to take all industry off Earth and bring it to space. And you're just like, oh, you saw the beauty of space and you thought, we need to fuck that shit up too. Like, all the shit we've been doing here and ruining our Earth.
Yeah, in his
That
pre-written speech.
Yeah, all that up there needs to look like that too. But also, he was talking about climate change, and he kept calling it the climate change. Like, and I'm more just like he never talked about it before.
Yeah.
It reinforces my commitment to the climate change, to the environment. I think if you look at it too, we have too much vilification in society today and not enough unity.
He's just like, we have to, I'm very concerned about the climate change. It just like, it sounded like a really unnatural, like, there was no emotion to anything. Also, here's the fucking amazing thing. They all went to space. It was only for 11 minutes, I think. And I watched the whole 11 minutes of because there's just like a GoPro just filming them in their little fucking cave or whatever. And they're all just so giddy with excitement about being in Zero G, and they're like they have like, Jeff Bezos takes out a bag of Skittles, and they're just like throwing Skittles at each other and trying to catch them and shit, and they're real giddy about it. It probably is fun, but they don't spend any more than like 30 seconds looking out the window at the view of Earth.
Who wants a Skittle?
Oh, yeah. Sure, look.
All right, see if you can catch this in your mouth. Yeah, well done. Here, toss me one. Let me try.
What?
They're just all about like having the crack in Zero G, and this is what I think says so much about them as people. Well, about Jeff Bezos, not the rest of them. Although probably the rich kid too. If you read any like biography from any astronaut that has went to space, they speak of just the profound effect that seeing Earth from space has on you. There's even, is it called Stendhal syndrome? No, Stendhal, that's paintings. There's a name for it, Annie. It's a psychological thing that happens where you feel so insignificant that it just changes your perception. And everybody that's been to space, other than one, there's some Republican politician that it didn't affect, but most people, when they go to space, when they come back, they get into environmentalism and become like,
they're a different person.
Because it just changes you, because you see how insignificant you are compared, or not just you, but your people, your fucking planet, and that if you want to protect that, you have to fight for it. These guys weren't even interested in giving given that a chance. They weren't even looking at the view. They were just fucking throwing skittles at each other. It was such a it was a charade. Like,
It's like they were just doing it for the. They're doing it for the clicks, like they're doing it for the likes. They're
yeah.
doing it for the
Now
content.
it probably is good in the grand scheme of things. It's good to have like a space race back
Oh
in the
yeah,
public consciousness,
but
I
now
guess.
it's been done by private billionaires and corporations. It's not done by
Yeah.
like national bodies or government agencies. It's
Which
not for the people, you know.
yeah. Which
Though NASA have been lying about the shape of the Earth for all these years.
which I kind of appreciate as much as I dislike a lot of things about Elon Musk. I appreciate the fact that he's not throwing he's not racing the space himself.
Yeah,
He's been
he's
about
trying to.
getting the space for years, but it's all about like getting satellites up there and doing other shit. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like he has, even though he's of all the billionaires, he's like the youngest, and like he could actually train to be he's young enough to train to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
Like,
Though
but it doesn't seem like
I'm kind of waiting for him to be like, in a few years, he'll just suddenly hold a press conference and then be like, okay, I have launched 5,000 lasers into space and they're pointing downwards. I own the Earth now, and you all have to do
yeah,
what I say.
that's quite possible.
You know, and everybody's like, yeah, oh. Everybody's been cheering him on.